So today, I would like to share with you the actual practice of Dorje Shugden requires this. A person must get sokde, that is permission and initiation of this protector from a qualified Lama. The Lama himself or herself must have the practice and have done the proper retreats. So you must have sokde, life entrustment commitment. You must have sokde. Then you yourself must have Yamataka's initiation, Yamataka's practice. You must have Lama Tsongkhapa's initiation, a Lama Tsongkhapa's practice. So before you can receive sokde, you have to have Yamataka's practice and a practitioner of Yamataka. You must have Lama Tsongkhapa's initiation, Je Tsen Tsin Ma, Tse Tsin Ma, and you must have been doing Lama Tsongkhapa's practice and retreat. So after you finish these and you have these practice, then you can receive Dorje Shugden's practice. Because when you do Dorje Shugden's practice, you have to do these forms of manjushri in conjunction. Now, for everybody today to get these practices, these initiations, do the retreats, do the mantras, it's going to be very complicated. Very, very complicated, very difficult. Yamataka sadhana is quite long. Even the short one's quite long. The long one's very long. So a lot of people today, if they were to do Yamataka's practice, Tsongkhapa's practice, it's very, very difficult. So I've been thinking about it for many years, and I've lived and traveled all over. I've lived in Malaysia and traveled all over and come across people with a lot of problems, and I've introduced them to Dorje Shugden's practice very lightly. And they have come back to me, most of them have come back to me telling me that it has had a very powerful and positive effect in their lives. And I hear this again and again and again. Let's be very honest. 95% of the people who come to Buddhism are not going to practice Buddhism deeply. They're going to read some books, do some chanting, make some donations, do some mantras, and just once a week on Sunday do a service at the Buddhist temple. Most people, they're not going to do anything seriously. So their knowledge of Buddhism will be limited. Their knowledge of understanding of karma and suffering will be very limited. But they want a solution. They want a solution. Now, 5% who practice Dharma deeper, they practice Buddhism deeper, they'll know where the solution for a problem is. They'll know how to overcome their problem because they study Dharma enough to apply its method to overcome their problem. But 95% of the public, whoever they are, where they are, I'm not meaning this as criticism, will not know what to do. And when the problems come, they're stuck. They usually go seek a lama, a monk, a nun, a practitioner to help them overcome their problems with pujas and rituals and prayers and chanting. So a lot of people have problems and they're not able to practice Buddhism very deeply. So to say, you need to do a meditation on emptiness, you need to do recitation to Pakde, for example, Papa Cheniziki Deva, you have to do the recitation of prayers to Avalokiteshvara, praise to him. You have to retreat on Yamataka. They're not able to do it. They're not able. Imagine I tell people, you need to do Yamataka's practice. You need to do the mantra 700,000 times. Do talk twice a month and keep the commitment very well. Then you'll overcome your problems. The best overcomer of problems is Yamataka. But how to get people to get that initiation? How to get people to take on the bodhisattva vows that's required within that initiation, that practice. How to get them to do the tantric vows. How to get them to do the practice of Yamataka itself, the meditation, the complicated recitations, and the rituals and the offerings involved for them to overcome their problems. Most people, they're not able to do that. But many people who are not able to do extensive rituals for themselves or extensive practice for themselves or to practice Buddhism deeper to overcome their own problems, they still deserve a remedy to overcome their problems because they're suffering. I repeat, many people who are not able to practice Buddhism or Dharma deeply, to apply Dharma to overcome their problems, they still deserve a method to overcome their problems. So for those people, I recommend Dorje Shugden's practice. The housewife that's having financial issues, the house husband that can't get a job. Someone who's going in for a serious operation, they're very scared. Someone in deep depression. Someone who has to travel a lot and it can be dangerous. Somebody who is in a profession that has a lot of difficulties like firemen, dangerous. People who feel they have occult or spiritual attacks, negative attacks. People who get possessed, which happens quite a lot in Asia. Magic is alive here. People who want to get ahead in school, want to get into a school. People who have different problems. Students who are having difficulty passing tests. And I've been asked these questions, how to help them many, many times. And my recommendation for all these people of any background, of anywhere, is to do Dorje Shugden's practice. Dorje Shugden's practice doesn't replace the meditation and the prayers and the worship of Buddha Shakyamuni. It doesn't replace that, but it helps us to stay on the path so that we can practice Buddha Shakyamuni. It helps us stay on the path. And you know, a lot of people today, they want fast phones, fast internet, fast airplanes, fast cars. They want fast food. Well, they also want a fast protector. They also want a fast result. So Dorje Shugden is it's like a drive-through. You just drive through, tell him what you want, and if you trust him, he will literally help you. And I hate to say that, and I hate to make it funny. I'm not trying to demean it, but Dorje Shugden is literally a fast drive-through, and many people tell me that he's very effective. So, Dorje Shugden's practice should not be your main practice. It shouldn't be your only practice. It's a subsidiary practice that you do to help you stay on your spiritual path. Your practice should be Buddha Shakyamuni, Lama Tsongkhapa, Lama Guru Rinpoche, Hiruka, Yamantaka, Kala Chakra, Guya Samaja, Vajrayogini, Hevatra, Gyawak Gyatso Chenezik, etc., 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 etc. That should be your main practice. And coupled with your main practice should be reading Lamrim, understanding Lamrim, meditating on Lamrim, understanding the 50 verses of Guru devotion, the 3 principal paths. We should familiarize ourselves with the writings of the great Indian masters such as Nagarjuna, Chandrakirti, Chandragomi, such as Shantideva. We should definitely read Shantideva's Bodhisattva Chairavata. We should familiarize ourselves with that, meditate on that, and practice that. Those should be our practices. We should do the practices of the great Kadamba masters, Geshe Potawa, Geshe Langri Tangpa, etc. We should learn the teachings of mind transformation, such as the 8 verses of thought transformation. So our main practice should be things like the 8 verses of thought transformation, Lojong. They should be practices like the Guru Yoga of Lama Tsongkhapa, the Guru Yoga of Buddha Shakyamuni, the Guru Yoga of Guru Rinpoche. They should be practices like, for example, meditation on Lamrim, Lamrim retreats, Lamrim practice, Lamrim meditation. Our main practices secretly should be Yamantaka, Hiruka, Vajrayogini, and or Guya Samaja, Kala Chakra, etc., etc., etc. Those are our main practices. And the result of those practices should be the transformation of the mind. From that of an ordinary, poor me, feeling sorry for myself, being to one that accepts myself, loves myself, can see my potential, gains higher consciousness, gains bodhicitta, gains realization shunyata, and that is able to benefit others and bring others out of suffering consistently. That should be the goal of our Buddhist practice. That should be Buddhist practice. Buddhist practice is that. The protective practices such as Dorje Shugden, Tanden Lhamo, Mahakala, Kalarupa, Vaishavana, etc., etc. Those are all side things and small practices. Be it that it's small, we still need it. Because we come across a lot of obstacles. A lot of obstacles. So, it would be better if we were to meet a great king. If I was to meet great prime ministers, plural, of Malaysia, I don't think I'll say to them, can you help me walk across the street? I can't walk across the street. I think it would be better if I asked a Malaysian policeman to help me walk across the street because, I have some leg problems. I don't think if I see the Prime Minister of Malaysia and the Prime Minister say to me, what do you want, my dear Tsem Rinpoche? What would you like? If you can help me walk across the street? The Prime Minister looks at me, I look at him. There's a moment of crickets in the room. Wouldn't it be better if I say to the Prime Minister, can you give me a fabulous job that gives me a lot of money and that I'm going to be powerful and rich and all that stuff? Wouldn't that be smarter to ask the Prime Minister or a great king for something bigger? Right? Why would you ask them to help you walk across the street? Like that, if you meet a policeman and you need help, you're not going to say to him, oh, get me a great job. You're going to say to him, can you help me walk across the street? I'm having problems with my legs. Of course. In America, you always see policemen. Well, when I was growing up, I don't know about now. When I was growing up, you always see policemen helping little old ladies, little old men across the street. So I'm not going to go to Shakyamuni and say to him, I'm not going to go to Shakyamuni in Tsongkhapa and say to him, can you get me a job? Can you remove obstacles that, I can be safe when I fly next time? Can you help me pass my grades? No, to Shakyamuni, to Lama Tsongkhapa, to Tara, to Hiruka and Vajrayani, what I'm going to ask them is, please give me indivisible bliss and emptiness. May I receive bodhicitta. May I gain the highest knowledge and the highest enlightenment. Dear Buddha Shakyamuni, please bless me and please bless my meditation. I can be an enlightened being. Then to Dorje Shugden and to Pandal Hamo and Kalurpa, I can say to them, can you help me get a job? So the protectors are a minor practice, but they're important because they help us, keep us on the path. They provide things for us on the path. Yes, are there people who go to Dorje Shugden and Pandal Hamo and say, oh, give me money, let me win the lottery, give me money, win the lottery. Most people ask for that. Most people ask for lottery, win the money, may they get a yacht, may they get a Rolls Royce, may they get, this and that and this and that. Of course there are, but look, it's not for me to judge people what they're going to pray to the protector for. My job is to say there is such a protector and you pray for what you think is right that doesn't harm others. In Tibetan society, if you go to the Tibetan temples, most of the lay people pray for secular things. No matter what protector is in the temple, they pray for secular things. So, if I was to give ordinary lay people Dorje Shugden's practice, and they have to get initiation of Lama Tsongkhapa, then they have to get initiation of Yamataka, they have to do the sadhana, do the practice, do the retreat, do the fire puja, and get initiation at Dorje Shugden. They have to do the practice, do the rituals, and do the pujas, and it takes hours. It's going to be difficult for them. So what I do is because I have lived out of Tibetan communities for a long time, and I live with people who don't know what pujas are, who don't know what meditation is, who don't know what the tantras are, who don't know what commitments are, who do not know what bodhicitta or bodhisattva vows or tantric vows are. They don't know. They want their kids to get into school. They want to pass. They need some financial help. They need to get a job. They're sick. Someone's in a hospital. Someone had a stroke. They need a miracle. They need assistance. They need a blessing. Someone sees ghosts. They need protection from negative beings. These are the kind of people I meet. And if I was to help them overcome their problems using Buddhist methods, it would take years. And I don't even know if they would wait that long to even do it. So if I recommend Dorje Shugden's practice to them, it will help them almost immediately. What do they have to give back? Nothing really. In the last 30 years that I have practiced Dorje Shugden, I've consulted his famous oracles many times. I've spoken to him. He takes trance in his oracles. Many times I've spoken to him. He's asked me for nothing except be kind, study the Dharma, share the Dharma with others, be a benefit to others, assist others. He has never ever told me to meditate on himself or anything. He always told me to teach the Buddha's teachings to others, to make sure they practice, for example, Buddha Shakyamuni, recite the mantra of Cherenzik or whatever. So in the 30 years that I've had a relationship with Dorje Shugden, the advice has always been dharmically inclined. And so I have tons of people asking me all the time, to help solve their problems. Well, I'm not a Buddha and I can't solve their problems. And I think even a Buddha cannot solve everyone's problems. I don't think any God or Buddha or any divine being can solve everybody's problems. But we have to apply the methods of solving the problems ourselves with a little bit of help from the divinities. A little bit help from an angel, awakened master, from a saint, from a special protector. And in this case, Dorje Shugden.